Do, do, do. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? How are you today? I just wanted to drop in and say hello. My name is Michael Navarrete, and I go by the moniker of Dropping Dimes, a.k.a. the Hopeful Romantic, a.k.a. the feminist with chauvinist tendencies. And this is the Hopeful Romantic podcast. You're probably wondering, Mike, what do you have to say? Why'd you pop up? For those of you that follow me already on my Dropping Dimes page or my Mr. Underscore Dropping Dimes on my Instagram, you know that I like to talk about relationships. I'm not one for small talk. I like to talk about life. I like to talk about relationships. I like to talk about love. And right now, there's a big narrative going around. And I want to kind of like dispute that narrative. It's on the internet, and it's all about people shitting on love. They're shitting on it left and right, how it just doesn't serve the purpose. It's not what it used to be. Relationships are shit. The population is, it's terrible. Women want this and high value that. You hear all about that, right? And by proxy, there's a whole slew of guys on the internet that are shitting on women, right? Or at least shitting on a portion of women, right? Because not all of them think the way certain women think. But I wanted to come back, man. I wanted to bring it back and bring it back to a guy that is a hopeful romantic. I believe in love. I believe in it wholeheartedly, 100%. I believe it as an entity. Love is perfect. Love is perfect. We as humans, we're the ones with the issues. We're the ones that have problems. We're the ones with the traumas. We're the ones with the preconceived notions. We're the ones that come into these situations with issues, right? And we create more problems for ourselves. Whether it's through indecision, whether it's through not really knowing ourselves and understanding ourselves, oftentimes the people that come into our lives, they become bumps in the road on the way to self-discovery. So you probably ask yourself, Mike, how did you get here? What did you go through? You weren't like this growing up. If you know me growing up, where did all this come from? So I'm gonna give you a little backstory. I'm gonna tell you, what are some of the key points that got me to where I'm at. And if you like what I'm saying, if you enjoy my content, by all means, join my community, man. If you're somebody who's hopeful about romance, who believes in love, who still feels like it's out there for them, who still wants to know, hey, man, what are men thinking? What are women thinking? What's happening behind the scenes? I call myself the feminist with chauvinist tendencies because at the end of the day, I'm a man, and there's times without even thinking about it, I do, and I say shit that's, that kind of goes against women. I don't mean goes against women in terms of like slander or anything like that. I mean it kind of just like unwillingly, like sometimes I mansplain. I do that a lot. I mansplain, meaning a woman tells me how she feels, and then I turn around and say, "No, this is how you feel." Something I work on, and I fight every day. I fight that every single day. I try to make sure that I'm like, okay, listen, you have 2 ears, 1 mouth, listen. And you'll see me like ready to jump in. So I'm a work in progress. The second part of it is this. I am by all means not perfect at all. I'm not one of these guys that's going to go, that's going to jump on the internet, right, and claim perfection and claim that, I'm this holier than thou, I'm smarter, I'm better, I'm this perfect guy that if I came into your life, hell no. I'm going to tell you right now, I ain't shit. But you know what you get with me? You get honesty. You get the truth. I haven't been shit in my life. I've made all the mistakes. I'm a 44-year-old man, and I've made all the mistakes. But when I've had perfection, what I perceive to be perfection in my hand, as far as a woman, disregarded it. She was just a bump in the road on my way to self-discovery. I didn't know myself. Ruined relationships. I've been a cheater. I've literally hurt people. I've lied for no reason, just lied. I've done it all, And I've been in a situation where I've loved and I've lost. I've been in situations where I thought I loved and then realized, oh shit, this isn't love. This is toxic. So, I've been in all these different little types of situations. But more so than that, I developed a strategy, and I think that my friends and family, this is where a lot of my journey in relationship talk and a lot of my journey in podcasting came from this. I developed a strategy in giving advice. So a lot of my friends, when they come to me, they're like, Mike, we love the way you give advice. We love that the way you think when we have a question. You know, you don't just take the immediate answer. You don't grab the low hanging fruit. You like to give us. You go a little deeper. And I'm going to give you a quick strategy on one of the things that I developed right in my head. One of the things was I found out women, when they would give advice, when their girlfriends would come to them, they give advice and they leave out their history. All right. So a girl will come to her friend and she'll say, hey, you know, he's cheating on me, or he's hitting me, or he's doing any one of these million things, right? And a woman will give, let's say cheating. Oh, he's cheating on me and he's treating me like he's not giving me attention and he's doing this and he's doing that. And they'll go to you and you'll be drinking your wine. They'll look at you, girl, you better leave him. You better go. Oh, girl, right? Or woman, you know, girl, whatever it is. What, you know, again, the background doesn't matter. Black, white, Latina, Asian, doesn't matter. They usually get in a room and kind of give the same advice. And what happens? What are you leaving out? A lot of times, what you're leaving out is the back half of that sentence. The back half of that sentence is, no, girl, you better leave, because when I went through it, yes, girl, I was the sucker one time. See, that's what we leave out. That's what women leave out. They leave out the part about when they were the sucker, when they were the one in those shoes, when they were the ones that were suffering. Now, don't get me wrong. There's friendships that go past that. You know, you'll go deeper. But for the most part, when you're in a group and nobody wants to kind of stand out as being that one that, you know, you're weak, you kind of hit them with the, oh, girl, you better leave. You better not. And they leave out the part of, no, because I suffered in that kind of silence for 3 years. I got cheated on left and right. And I, you know. The other part of it is men. When we give advice, we give it with our ego. With our ego. And we give it based on what we hope we would do in that scenario. Right? But the truth be told, because we're not dealing with the emotions of that scenario, we're not dealing with the feelings of that scenario, we are able to kind of disconnect ourselves and give blanket advice like, yo, a guy's wife cheats on him. Right? They're married, they have children, they have a family, right? He comes to his boys, hey man, I'm going through it. You know, his girl cheated, da 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 da. You can tell on his face he wants to save his marriage. He loves the woman. He absolutely loves her. Well, what happens? His boys look at him and go, shit, she a cheater, man. I could never. Listen, I could never. No, you hope that you could never. That's what you hope you would do. And your ego is telling you, I would be out. I would be gone. But you're not adding all the things that he's attached to her with. Leaving the children, leaving the house, not being able to see your kids every day. Not even have your kids. The fact that you still love this woman. The fact that maybe you know that for the last year and a half, you haven't been shit. There's a lot to it. There's a lot to it. So my thing is this. When a man gives advice, keep your ego out of it. So that's what I've learned to do. I'm going to take my ego out of it. So you come to me, hey, man, I've had my heart broken. Hey, man, I've been through bullshit. Hey, man, I've cheated in the past. I've done all that. But when you come to me, I'm going to look at your individual situation. I'm going to look at what you go through. And I'm going to say, okay, do you love her? At the end of the day, this is marriage. This is not your girlfriend. This is not some side chick. This is marriage, yo. All gloves are off. This is your family. Fight for them. Go get them. You know what I mean? But I'm going to hear you out. I'm going to listen to you. I want to know what's going on with you. And that strategy right there of getting to know and understanding and leaving myself out of it, eliminating my ego, my past. Once I've done that, I find that a lot of people have been able to come to me. I get messages in my inbox. And as you see my podcast grow, you're going to see me going to my inbox, and I'm going to be literally asking questions to the audience, seeing how everybody would respond, and I'm going to give you my response. It's everything from I've been cheated on, I've cheated. I'm in this type of, what I don't deal with, and I want to let everybody know clearly, I try to avoid toxicity, meaning if somebody's a habitual cheater, don't come to me for advice. If you want to cheat, Don't come to me to have you co-sign why you should cheat. Whether it's, oh, he's not giving me attention, he's not there, or she's not fulfilling me in the bed. That's not what I do. Right? That's not me. You know? So don't come to me with that. If you are in a situation where you're going through domestic violence, look, I could forward you some links. I could definitely pass you on to things like that. Please don't send me anything in my inbox. I'm not qualified to deal with that arena. You know, I'm not, and that's not my area where I like to roam. I'm very simple. I deal in love. If you love, you want to be loved. If you feel like you're love worthy, yo, I'm where you want to be. This is where you want to be. This is where you want to talk. Let's change this narrative about love sucks, about relationships suck, marriage is not good. Everything has its place. Everything has its time. I love saying the universe doesn't know late. It only knows right on time. It's literally waiting. And you know what? I'm not even going to go into that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say the one phrase, the one thing that really led me on this journey, right? And it's these words that penetrated my soul that I said, oh man, you know what? I got to take this deeper. I want to think about this whole relationship dynamic, this whole man-woman thing, this whole love thing. Let's say love thing. I don't want to say man-woman. Let's say love thing, right? I was heartbroken over a situation. I want to make it clear. I wasn't heartbroken over the actual relationship. I was heartbroken. Promise I had made myself. I broke a promise I made myself. I moved into a new part of my life. I was finally getting things right. I was establishing a home, a place where my daughter can come and be with me. I was finally going to be the stable parent. I was finally going to be in a relationship after these years of bachelorhood and running around and slinging. I was finally going to be this stable dude. And when that picture crumbled, it caught me off guard. Right? And what I realized is that breakups, relationships, situations like this, broken promises, they affect you and they take you as deep as how happy you are. So if you're in a relationship, right, and you're not happy with yourself, you're not 100% a great place, and you attach to somebody, and now they kind of make up for that gap that you have within yourself, that hole, and they substitute for that happiness you can't provide for yourself. You start to lean on them, and you start to lean on them. And when one day you guys break up or they're gone, all of a sudden you have this empty hole, and you're like, what happened? Holy shit, and you crumble. So that's what was happening to me. That happened to me. And I was talking to my father, and my father's a guy who barely had a great education, but at the same time had genius in him. It was weird, man. He had this street knowledge, and then he was this brilliant, these flashes of brilliance when he talked about emotion, right? Yet he was as disconnected emotionally as anybody ever met. It's weird. It's just a crazy dynamic. But I took what he said to me and I internalized it. And he said to me, Mike, put your head down and work. Work on yourself spiritually, emotionally, financially, physically, mentally. One day you will pick up your head up and there she will be. There will have been a woman that had been watching you work, falling in love with the process. I heard that and I was like, wow, that was brilliant, because he wasn't talking literally that I was going to pick my head up and there she will be. He was saying, as I did the work, the universe has whoever's ready for me, whoever's in store for me, whoever my destiny is, whoever the person that's meant for me, they're already there. They're there. What they're doing is they're waiting for you to learn the lessons, go through the pain, fix yourself, become whole. Because once you do that, you're going to meet somebody. And that person, you're going to be everything that person prayed for. And you're not going to understand how you got there, but it's all about you. It's all about all the work you put in. You decided, you know what, I'm going to get to this economic standard. That person that you meet says, I need somebody that's at least this economic standard. You're gonna meet somebody. I need somebody with a sense of humor, that's in a good mental space. You're gonna create that in you. You're gonna be funny. You're gonna have a good mental space. You're gonna meet somebody, and they're gonna in their mind they're gonna say, I need somebody who's funny in a good mental space. You're gonna meet somebody. You're gonna work on your relationships, your spirituality with God. You're gonna work on, or the universe, whatever it is you believe in, and you're gonna work on it. You're gonna meet somebody, and they're gonna have been asking themselves, God, bring me somebody that's in touch with you. Bring me somebody that you're at the center of their life. You see where I'm getting with it? The universe doesn't know late. It only knows right on time. It's literally waiting for you to get whole. I know this is all very cliche, and they talk about the universe says it does, the law of attraction. It doesn't bring you what you want and what you manifest, we desire. It brings you a reflection of who you are. If you are broken and you find yourself in relationships that are broke, it's because you are broken. There's a part of you have not addressed. There's an issue within you. And I know a lot of, no, because I love myself. I'm happy with myself. No. You're happy with parts of yourself. There's always things you can work on. None of us is perfect. There's parts you can work on. Look into those dark parts. Fix those. Or do your best to address those. So when you meet somebody, you're whole. And they are a reflection of you. Because if you are whole and you meet somebody who's not, you're going to recognize that right away. And it's going to be like a repellent. Like, whoa, no. I'm not doing that. Where on the other hand, a lot of times, what I find is that people that are broken, they seek the comfort of someone to fill those holes. And that never works. Like I said, because when they're gone, it's like a drug. I always say a good woman is a vitamin, not a drug. A good woman is a vitamin, not a drug. That's a dime. Choo. A good woman is a vitamin, not a drug. She gives you life. She gives you peace. She gives you all these things. She looks at your life and says, okay, I see where the gaps are. I see where I'm not here to fix you. I'm not here to make you. I'm not here to raise a boy. I'm not here for none of that. But you know what I am here to do? I'm here to fill in these little gaps, to slide in to where you need me. You know what I mean? And make your life a little bit easier. And you know all I ask in return? I ask that you pay the same close attention to my life. You pay attention to the gaps in my life to see what's missing, and you slide in and you fill it. And we do that for each other. And when we do that for each other, we take the rose-colored glasses off. See, I always say, there's lust, there's love. And there's a saying that says, lust feels a lot like love until it's time to make a sacrifice. And that's so true. And I always say that there's a time when selfish love transitions to selfless love. So that day is lust is selfish, love is selfless. So you take off the rose-colored glasses. You see somebody's imperfection. You see what's wrong. You see that they're not this perfect, great human being. But you know what? You say to yourself, no. This is perfect for me. He's flawed, but he's perfectly imperfect for me. He fits my puzzle just like that. And that's all that matters. He fits my puzzle just like that. And what I find is that, when people meet, there's one thing that I always notice about men and women, the dynamic between men and women. You'll always hear about communication. How communication is so important. Right? But nobody ever really goes into, what do you mean by communication? What are we talking about here? Because there's different types of communication, verbal, nonverbal. There's all these different aspects of communication, right? And I feel like men and women, at the core, one of the cores of my message is that men and women, we communicate differently. All right. So I always say, and this is me, you can combat me on this is fine. For a woman, communication equals love. For a man, vulnerability equals love. Those are both forms of communication. One is verbal, one is emotional. The other one is, I'm going to let you in, but I'm communicating that I need you, all right? That I need to talk to you, that you're my safe space. You're the person that I can go to. So let's address that. Why do I say that for me, one woman, communication equals love? I find that if you've ever been in a relationship, a woman will tell you everything she's very clear on what she wants and what she needs from you. Right? She's very clear about it. There's no guessing with a woman about what does she want from me. No, she wants you to do this in the house. She wants you to go here. She wants you to provide this. She wants you to be this type of person. She's gonna tell you. She's gonna verbalize it. Men, what we'll do is she's telling us this information, and we take it as bitching and moaning. Gentlemen, I want to tell you right now, don't fear the noise. Fear the silence. When a woman is quiet, I can tell you right now, that's her way of mentally checking out a relationship. I'm going to give you the example. You come home from work, and your girl asks you, hey, how's your day at work? What does she really want from me? She doesn't, she's interested, she loves you, but she really wants you to ask her, hey, how was your day at work? So she's giving you that, she's telling you, she's showing you, hey, look, I'm asking you because I want you to ask me back. What does she do when she asks you back? When you ask her back, hey, no, how was your day? She's going to tell you about how this girl trying to take her job, this girl always flirting at work, the boss came and had the nerve, she was late, oh my God, but she ate for lunch. You're going to know every detail of her day. What I tell men is this, guys, it's a poorly wrapped compliment because she can go to her friends, she can go to her family, she can go to anybody and vent because that's all she's doing. She doesn't want the answers from you. She doesn't need your expertise. She's a smart woman. She has Google. There's friends she can talk to, but she comes to you because you're the man that she loves. So she wants to vent to you, and she wants to share, communicate, and share with you. And what I tell men is, that's a poorly wrapped compliment. It's her saying, I love you, without saying the words, I love you. She's saying, I love you. Look, I'm talking to you, and I want your attention, and you're the person I want to talk to. Yeah? And what men will do is they'll take that for granted. And they won't talk back, and they'll listen, and, oh, God, why is she? This is so annoying. Oh, my God. And they'll bitch, and they'll moan about how she talks too much, and, God, can I get 5 minutes walking in the door? Yeah, you deserve that, but she's saying she loves you. On the flip side of that, you have men. A lot of the complaints you get from women is when we have conversations is, he doesn't talk to me. He doesn't share with me. He doesn't talk to me. Mike, why doesn't he talk to me? He doesn't. Oh my God, you know what I like about you? You talk. You have communication. Why doesn't he talk to me? What is it? No, because here's, and I'm going to go back to the men. Here's what your silence means to her. When you're quiet, you're thinking. She says, well, when I'm quiet, it means I'm pissed off or I'm checking out mentally. So that must mean that if he's quiet, he must be checking out mentally. What does that do? It triggers insecurities. It starts to make people overthink and worry and what's wrong? Like, why doesn't he talk to me? What's the matter? Why doesn't he? What? And you'll get that a lot. And you'll realize, guys, we don't operate like that. The truth is, you'll sit there and half the time we're just thinking about, yo, the Jets can't even get it right, bro. They suck, man. Like, Jesus Christ, this is killing me. We're thinking about something very petty. Or did I change my lineup on fantasy football? Or shit, man, these Boston Celtics put an app, stuff like that. That's what we're thinking. Or the car, man. I wonder if I put more gas. Just simple stuff, right? But because we're quiet, again, women get to start to. So what I tell men is this: listen, even if it doesn't come natural to you, help her. You can't make her do anything. Help her feel secure that you have a mental and emotional space that's reserved just for her. That despite you despite you being quiet, that she can rest assured that she is everything that you want and that you need in your life. Okay? If you can communicate that, then the silence doesn't matter. But if you can't, you're gonna have to start working on it. Now, I talked earlier about how a lot of the new age internet talk, right? And it's mostly young guys. It's a lot of young guys, some older guys, but the modern internet has a lot of narratives about girls. All they want is money. All they want is this. They want guys with money and power and money and power and money and power. And yeah, there's absolutely women that's what they want. There's absolutely that's a percentage of the population. I'm not going to sit here and be a denier. That is true, but the truth is, there's also I would like to say it's like the bell curve. You ever been in school and there's teachers and I remember the bell curve was like there's always going to be a group of kids that do not so great, and most of the kids should land in the middle, and then at the very end there's the kids that are elite that do really well. And I find the same thing is true about the population. There's some women that tolerate anything, abuse, a lot of nonsense, cheating. That's they're here, and then most people land somewhere in the middle where they just want a good guy that's going to love them, that's going to work, that's going to be trustworthy, that's going to provide, that's going to protect, that's going to profess their love for them, that's going to do the things that emotionally fulfill them and kind of know that, hey, listen, we're in this together. And then you have the small percentage on the other side that says, hey, I need a 1% guy. I need a guy that's going to make all this money. I need a guy that's going to provide this type of income. I need a guy that's going to be this, this, and this. Cool. Right? Hey, everybody has their place. And there's somebody, I guess, for everybody. Whatever. So now, here's where I jump off the train. Right? Because again, if you took a deeper dive, I believe, in a lot of these young men, and I was watching one podcast where they're heavy into this type of conversation. And like with anything, if you let people talk long enough, they tell themselves. I realized I was like, oh, okay, there it is. There it is. I kind of peeked and I was like, oh, there it is. There's the answer. He said something to the effect of, I'm gonna paraphrase the story. He made the gesture that he was vulnerable with a woman once. He didn't say it just like that, but like he told the story where he was vulnerable with a woman, a young girl. And the young girl looked at him and was like, yo, can you freaking man up, yo? Like, you're being a pussy, right? And just flat out, like, shut him down. The one thing you learn fast is that for a man, vulnerability equals love. Vulnerability equals love, okay? What does that mean? Again, let's separate, sensitive and soft and all that. There's a difference. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking in any manner soft, weak. No. That's the problem. The problem is that that word has been hijacked and it's been transitioned into something bad, something negative. Vulnerability is the highest compliment a man can give a woman. It's the highest level of I love you a man can give a woman. When he looks at her and says, love my darkness, my light is easy to love. He looks at her and says, hey, look, man, I'm not perfect. I'm weak. I'm going to take this mask off that I show the world, and I'm going to show you who I really am. In that moment, how a woman reacts determines the roles that she's going to play in his life. If in that moment she looks at him and says, man up, she literally becomes a source of trauma. And for the next 10 years, 15 years, you're going to see women pay for that trauma, for that kind of situation. Or you meet a woman, you show her that side of you, you show her your darkness, and she looks at you and says, yeah, I can work this. I love you. It's okay. Give me that. I'll be here for you. And she becomes, and I get this question a lot, what do you mean? She becomes your peace. She becomes your peace. She becomes a source, a place, a safe space where you can go and say, hey, you know what? I'm not okay. I'm not, again, not to be confused with, woe is me, my life sucks. Oh man, I feel bad for myself. That's not what I'm trying to say here. Because I could see how a woman gets turned off by that. I'm talking about coming out and being like, hey, listen, this is what's going on with me. This is what's happening in my life, or this is what happened in my life, or this is how I got here. And this is some information I've never shared with anybody. This is a part of me I don't even like about myself. And I'm giving this to you. It's my present to you. And she looks at it and says, okay, I'm going to put this away and I'll never use it against you. And I'm going to hold it. She instantly becomes your peace. Men compartmentalize. I say this all the time. I had a comment yesterday, a question, and it was about It was about related to money. And I put it in the answer. I said, men compartmentalize. We put women in boxes. We don't put them in, but we have mental boxes that we put women in. It could run from, and it could get complex, but it runs from my sister box, which is I would absolutely never sleep with you, to my friend box, where you're my sister, you're my girl, homie, but if you slip, you're gonna get it. We got the we're just friends, benefit, mess around, good time. And we got the more serious, hey, look, relationship, let's build something box, right? I always say a woman can't get into the love relationship box, the white box, but she could definitely work her way out of it. So now you'll be like, oh, but people are friends and then they become, no, let me tell you flat out. Whenever you see a situation where a guy and a girl were friends, one of them at some point, and they become in a relationship, one of them at some point had that opening of possibly, maybe, I care for you more than just a friend. Okay? Then you have the other situation, because if they didn't, it would never get to that. It would never roll past that friendship situation. So you get into a situation where a woman could talk her way out of it or work her way out of it. The easiest way to work your way out of the love relationship long-term box is by not understanding when he's being vulnerable, by mishandling that situation. You mishandle that situation and it's a wrap. You will be friends with benefits forever. You will be he'll live with you. He'll stay with you. You'll be together. And you'll look at him like, are we ever going to get married? He'll look at you dead in the face and be like, nope. I wish I could sit here and tell you, give you more information and be like, why that happens. It just does. Maybe later episodes we could get some audience participation, and I could definitely help you out with that. But right now, hey, that's still a mystery to me too. It's a mystery to me too how that happens. But that's what this is about. That's what this podcast is going to be about. I'm going to have guests. I did a lot of work with Miss Illy in the past. A lot of you guys really enjoyed her. I did a lot of work with Miss Medillo in the past. She was awesome. I worked with a lot of different people. I'm going to have different professionals, different podcasters from across the country are going to be coming on here to chat with me and have questions. We're going to talk about sex. We're going to talk about fantasy. We're going to have adult conversation as well. We're going to talk about love. We're going to talk about marriage. We're going to talk about the good, the bad, the ugly. We're definitely going to address this narrative on the internet. That's anti-romance, anti-love. We're also going to talk about, people that are naive about love. There's a lot of different things, a lot of different aspects we could talk about and avenues. And I look forward to having audience interaction. I look forward to for you guys to tell people about what I do. I know a lot of you guys have followed me on my page in the past. I know a lot of you have, comment on my Instagram. I know a lot of you are on my Dropping Dimes page. Sometimes you see what I post on my personal Facebook, on my YouTube. I'm what you call a creator. I create different things. It's something that I've dove into, whether it's podcasting, whether it's writing. For those of you that don't know, I have a book. It is called Shallow River to Deep Ocean. It's a man's guide to understanding his woman by first understanding himself. In that book, I address a lot of what I'm going to talk about here on this podcast. I'm going to talk about taking the mask off, taking the toxic out of masculinity, understanding how that the toxicity affects your home. I'm going to talk about communication, what it means between a couple, what you convey, what you say with certain actions, what she's looking for from you. See, a lot of men, we have these insecurities and we have these triggers. They existed way before our partner got there. They've always been there. They didn't create them. They've been there. And what we need to do is we need to understand those. We need to understand what triggers us. What are our weaknesses? Where can we improve? See, I always tell men, a woman will tell you everything you need to know. It's time for you to start taking a proactive approach to your relationship, not a reactive approach. Think of it like this. Would you rather fix the dent in the car, or would you rather address the brakes? Maintain the brakes. If you maintain the brakes, guess what? You're never going to get into that accident. And that's the same thing. When you address your relationship, a lot of guys, they spend more time on their fantasy football lineup than they do dealing with their partner and really thinking about. And I'm not talking about when she's in front of you. I'm talking about when she's away from you. A lot of times she's away, out of sight, out of mind. She's not in the room. I'm not thinking about that. How about this? How about you dedicate some time every week and you see the world through her lens? You see the world through the things that she has to accomplish, that she has to get done, that she has to fix, that she has to clean, that she has to pick up kids, that whatever. See the lens for a minute through her eyes. Take some of the stuff off her plate. Allow her to free up mental space, emotional space. Once you do that, you're going to dive into the next part, one of the parts of my book, chapter 7. It's called the Mental Orgasm. There's very little to do with sex. It has to do with that ability, the ability to help her clear mental space and emotional space so that she is able to enjoy and fully be in moments, which in turn helps you. I always say it's trickle-down economics when it comes to women. In a house, a lot of guys, they're like, oh, my kids come first. Okay, cool. Just tell me how that works out. I promise you, if you put her first in a loving relationship, within a loving relationship, you put her first. See, a man's inclination, right? You give a man $1 million, he looks outward. He starts to think legacy, building things outward. From my experience, you give a woman $1 million and she thinks inward. How can I help my family right now, right here? What can I do for them today? I'll give you a better example. A man comes home, he washes dishes. His wife comes home. She's had a busy day. It's been crazy. She sees that he washes dishes and says, oh my God, I can't believe, oh my God, I'm so turned on right now. This is amazing. I was so worried all day that I was going to have to come home and do this. She gives him a blowjob. You know what that guy does for the next 30 days? He comes home, washes dishes, expecting, well, if I wash dishes, I got a blowjob. I'm going to wash dishes every day because hoping for a blowjob. All right? Now let's flip it. Your wife or your lady comes home, and on that particular day, you give her a day off. Right? You handle whatever it is she needed to handle. You let her relax. You let her kick her feet up, whatever. You know what she does for the next 30 days? She's re-energized and recharged and wants to go extra hard to please and make her family happy now. See the difference? A man goes seeking personal pleasure. A woman gets that personal pleasure and says, you know what? Now I can trickle it down and share it with my family because I'm relieved of stress. I'm able to calm. I'm able to think. I'm able to be clear. Now I have all this energy to really dump into my family. It's opposites. We're different. It's true when people say men are from Mars, women are from Venus. It's a different atmosphere, different environment. Well, in my book, I want to go back into that. I talk about that. I talk about sensitive, not soft. I want to talk about how when we talk about vulnerability, again, we're talking sensitive, not soft. It's sensitive is I see what you see. I'm in tune with your feelings. I see how the environment and what's going on around us and the pressures of life affect you. And you know what? We're in this together. You're not alone. Soft is how the pressure affects me and how I can't function because the world is bad and it's hard and it's tough and I'm sad. A woman doesn't want that. A woman does not want a man with no backbone. You know what I mean? They don't respect you. So I'm not talking about simps. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know people are going to watch this podcast and they'll be like, oh, he's talking about romance and he's a simp. No. I'm the direct opposite of that shit. Anybody who's ever dealt with me knows how I am. I'm not playing that bullshit. I'm very stern in who I am, what I tolerate, what I don't tolerate, what's acceptable behavior when it comes to me and what's not. You know what I mean? But I will tell you this. You have to, there's a difference. There's a world of difference between sensitive and soft. And in my book, I go a little more in depth. I give examples of what that means. See, that tough guy image you give the world, It does nothing when you walk inside these doors, these four walls. You know what I mean? You could be the toughest guy on earth when you walk in between those four doors. If you're not the man, see, masculinity a lot of times, again, I'm going to go off of my own world, my own tangent, my own definitions. And, again, if you agree, you agree. If you don't, cool. You have the right to do that. When I hear masculinity, or being a man, I always say, you hear these gender roles start to be described. And I'm like, nah, not in my world. That's not what that means in my world. In my world, a man, right, that washes dishes, takes care of the kids, cleans up around the house, is a stay-at-home dad, right? What I like to do is I'll examine their life, their family. And I say to myself, oh, that's what works best. See, relationships are like snowflakes and fingerprints. And I say to myself, oh, that's what works within the four walls of that house. That's literally, so what he 100% did was what's best for his family. He put his ego to the side and did what was best for his family. He put them first. To me, in my world, that is the most masculine thing you could do. Any man who puts his family first. Oh, you're a man? Let me look behind you. What do your kids look like? What does your family look like? What do your people in your house look like? Oh, they're taken care of? Oh, they're in the best position to win? You are a man. You're a man to me. Oh, you had sex with 30 girls? Oh, you don't take care of your kids? You're not a man to me. That doesn't mean anything. You see what I'm saying? That's why I go with it. Another part of the book, I address infidelity. Like I stated earlier, man, I'm not perfect, man. I've made my mistakes, and but I also learned that I am not my mistakes, and I want to share that with you guys. I know a lot of guys, for a good guy, right? Not for some dude that's out there slinging dick. That's not what I'm talking about. For a good guy, a lot of times, forgiving yourself is as hard, if not harder, than asking for forgiveness from the person you hurt. It takes, you can earn back trust and forgiveness, or some form of trust or forgiveness from someone that you hurt, right? In 2 or 3 years, and okay, you know what? Let's let it go. We're past it, whatever. And still, emotionally, that guilt still hovering over you. That guilt still, and I'm bringing it back to the eye. For years after my marriage, which I messed up on, for years I went into this circle of guilt that I didn't deserve full happiness. I had spurts of happiness. I had times when I was happy, but I never felt like I needed to suffer from hurting that person, because I genuinely didn't like the way I handled it, how I was, what I did. It really, really bothered me. It wasn't until I forgave myself and said, Mike, number one, your karma in life is not attached to a woman. It's not. I know women will try to tell us that. Oh, you hurt a woman, you're going to pay, and you don't. No, that's not true. It's not. You could disagree with me. That's cool. But to me, that's absolutely not true. No, I hurt you, and you know what? This is not the totality of who I am. There's still a whole other world of me that maybe does good, that is all right, that's whatever. And maybe it balances out. But you're not the reason my life is going to go to hell. It's not, and it won't ever be. And it's not going to be for you either. What it is as a man, you hold that guilt, you hold those issues, and they become a major source of, how they say, you manifest. And because you're carrying that guilt, you're literally manifesting more problems, more issues, more. Yes, you don't deserve love. Yes, you're not love worthy. You start to feel this way and genuinely soak it up. And the truth is this: that's absolutely not true. You are love worthy. You are capable of loving and being loved back. And that has nothing to do with it. You have to forgive yourself first. You have to look in the mirror and say, you know what? I'm changed. I've grown. You know what I mean? And that's how I'm with you guys today. That's how I can get you guys today. I'm here today because exactly that. I'm grown. I've grown. I've evolved. I'm a new man. I'm a new man. I've I'm not the person. If you knew me 2, 3 years ago, I'm not that guy. Maybe 5 years ago, I'm not that guy. I've evolved. I've changed. I have the right to do that. And I think a lot of us guys out there, we get to a certain age and we're like, damn, man, I'm still being held to the standard that I was held at when I was, when I hurt you back when I was 30, when I was 29. That's not cool. You know what I mean? And I want to let you know, hey, man, in this chapter, you are not your mistakes. You're not. There's a way to bounce back. And a lot of it has to do with truly changed behavior, becoming whole, becoming that man that you want to be. In this book, I talk about a couple that grows together. I talk about how she grows, I grow, and it's mutually beneficial. I talk about, I always tell a story about my neighbor. All right, so it's a couple that grows together. It's you grow in your world, whatever it is that makes you happy. I grow in my world, whatever makes you happy. And then we center our life around one thing or a couple of things that are exclusive to our relationship. I'm sure you've met plenty of people. They're in the church. They volunteer. There's whatever. I'll tell you a quick story. It's in the book as well. Shallow River to Deep Ocean. My neighbor, multimillionaire, has been married 35 years. Him and his wife, they're the cutest couple. She's very extroverted. He's quiet. He's quiet as a mouse. She's outside doing the gardening. You'll catch him maybe in the backyard barbecuing, but quiet, whatever. I made friends with them. I talk to them every now and then. And especially him. You know, whenever I see a couple that's been married, especially that long, 30 years, my first question is, what's the secret? And they'll tell me something like, well, the usual. They'll give me, we're bonded by love and loyalty and, this and our morals and values. But then he said something that really caught my eye. He said, she makes me laugh. She makes you laugh? She goes, yeah, she makes me laugh. I, expand on that. Tell me. She goes, she's always been the funniest person in the room. When I was poor, before we made our money, and we can go to New York City with a drink in our hand, and she would make me crack up laughing, people watching. And as we got older, we always had that. And as I've gotten old and gray, she's still the funniest person I know. And what we do is, we used to watch a lot of funny movies together as the kids were growing up. And then about 20 years ago, our kids were a little older, late high school, college age. We decided we're going to rent a Winnebago and we're going to go to the Montreal Comedy Festival. We're going to leave. And no children, no grandchildren, just me and her, just us two. What did I get from that? I said, oh, so you found something that bonded you, that was exclusive to you two, and you created a life around it. And that's what they did. For 20 years, they would go to the Montreal Comedy Festival, have a blast, come back, recharged, re-energized, back together, bonded, loving, and it allowed them to keep on. So that's a little synapse of a couple that grows together. Within the book, we have other chapters. We have The Quiet Storm. This chapter was asked of me to write because somebody knew of a situation I had gone through. And it's a story I tell in the form of a narrative. It's a story of Boca and Diamond. And I tell it from that angle. It's a story of the guy's version of postpartum depression. I'm not a doctor. I don't go into any of that. So I want you to know that. I don't claim to do that. But what I will tell you is the male experience and how it leaves you a little off balance, what's going on. Even after people have healed and they're better, it still leaves you like walking on eggshells like, is she good today? Is she bad today? But I think I do a good job of really giving you that experience. And I'm able to close it out, put a little bow on it at the end so you understand where I'm going with that. I want to talk to you about, so we have I Leave Shallow Water, Taking the mask off, communication, a couple that grows together, infidelity, sensitive, not soft, the mental orgasm, the quiet storm, and deep ocean. And deep ocean is basically the title of the book is Shallow River to Deep Ocean. We treat women like they are shallow rivers. The truth is their emotions are deep like the ocean. And the truth is we know as much about the bottom of the ocean as we do about space. And I encourage you, if you want good treatment, that's like fishing on a shallow river. You're going to catch little fish, small fish. If you want to make the big catch, which is the great treatment, I advise you to go into the deep ocean. That's where you catch the big fish. That's where you catch the big emotion. That's where you catch the great treatment. And where fantasies are fulfilled. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Hopeful Romantic Podcast. I'm your boy Dropping Dimes, a.k.a. the Hopeful Romantic, a.k.a. the feminist with chauvinist tendencies. I hope that if you liked what you heard here, I invite you to join my Instagram page. And you can find that at Mr. MR _ dropping DROPN DIMES. Mr. _ dropping dimes. I put daily posts. You're going to see clips of this podcast. You're going to see lives with other podcasters. There's a lot of new things coming this way. In order for you to purchase my book, if you're interested, I'm going to put the link down below, but you could see it it's available wherever books are sold, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, preferably bookbaby.com. It's the most author-friendly, bookbaby.com. And the title is Shallow River to Deep Ocean, A Man's Guide to Understanding His Woman by First Understanding Himself by Michael A. Navarrete. The audiobook is coming soon. I'm working with Audible now. I'm actually going to be doing some voiceover work, working on some different narrations. I'm really excited about that. I'm doing the training now to learn a little more voice acting. It's really a good time with that. Also, if you want to catch more of me, definitely check me out on my YouTube channel. It's the Dropping Dimes YouTube channel. There you could see other podcasts that I'm also part of, which is the Sports is My Love Language podcast, which is available now on Spotify and Apple TV, Apple podcasting. You will also be able to find this podcast, the Hopeful Romantic Podcast, on Apple and Spotify coming soon on Monday nights at 8 p.m. So if you don't catch me live on Facebook or YouTube, you'll be able to see me or take me with you in your car. Listen, but check this out. You could also email me at mandropndimes420 at gmail.com. Man dropping dimes 420 at gmail.com with any questions, any comments, any reviews on what I said. You could also comment on my Facebook page if once I post everything down below, you can put the comments. Definitely, if you like it, share. Most importantly, let's build a community. Let's build a community. I think that let's change this male-female dynamic. Let's change this love. Again, I'm going to substitute, when I say male-female, I'm going to substitute it with love. Because I don't care if it's male-male, female-female. Let's substitute it with love. I want to change the love dynamic. That love is good. After all, I am the hopeful romantic. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for your time. And once again, see you soon.